Hey, good morning. We're back for another story time with Brian. I can never remember where to look on this camera, so we'll try this angle for a little bit. Hey, this week as I'm looking at the Moth schedule of stories, the theme this month is escape. So if you're not a fan or have heard of the Moth, I would say immediately go to themoth.org, TheMoth.org. There's a catalog of thousands of stories in the same way that I'm telling these. So, hey, so let's get right to it. This week's story. So, 2007, I think, might have been 2010. One of my last trips to Cuba, I spent the week in this town called Pedro Betancourt, and it's south east of Havana, in the countryside, a little village. I stayed with a pastor and his wife and his family there, with three other guys for about a week. And from there, we traveled to all these small cities working with churches in Cuba. So it had been my third trip there, I believe. And on the last day, we're in the living room of this house, and it's pretty sparse. You know, the Cubans aren't rich people, but the house is decorated, but it's concrete walls and tile floor and an old tube television, DVD player that's sort of kind of wired up haphazardly, and there's some furniture and little doilies on the table and some pictures on the wall, but nothing special. But we're there and we're saying our goodbyes after it's been a week in their house, eating with them and living with them, and uh, we're exchanging gifts at this point and making final donations to the church, and we're kind of wrapping things up and waiting for our driver to pick us up and take us back for a couple of hours to get back to Havana, where we would fly out the next day or later that day. I can't remember. So we're sitting there and I'm doing some magic tricks with these kids, and we're talking and laughing, and it's broken English, it's broken Spanish, but we're really just having this good time of fellowship. When all of a sudden, this teenage boy bursts into the room, like just right in the door, into the middle of the living room, and he realized he stumbled upon a social gathering in the morning. He kind of wasn't expecting that. I think he was expecting just to see his friends. Now in Cuba, that's pretty normal. People just sort of come and go into houses. It's a quick knock and then they're in. It wasn't too alarming that this teenage boy found himself in the middle of the living room during our goodbyes. But he had in his hand a DVD, and I could hear that he was speaking. He was speaking really fast and speaking excited. He had something of importance. And so everybody sort of stopped what they were doing that understood Spanish, and they turned their attention to the boy in the DVD. They get the DVD in, and I quickly learned in the first couple of minutes that this is the latest episode of a TV show called Prison Break. And this boy knew a guy who had an illegal satellite dish and had recorded it off of the satellite in English with Spanish subtitles, or Spanish to English subtitles, I can't remember. Had downloaded it or saved it, recorded it, whatever. They had then duplicated it on DVDs, had sold copies, and this copy was the first copy of the episode in this town, and they're going to watch. And they were sort of proud of themselves that they were soaking in this little bit of American culture. And but as I sat back on the couch and I watched what was unfolding, it occurred to me a couple of things. That the Cubans have this ingenuity to get things done despite their government, like an illegal satellite dish and recording a show and then mass producing bootleg DVDs in the middle of nowhere, Cuba. And two, the irony that they were watching a show called Prison Break when they at that time could not leave the island. Like a visa to leave Cuba was well beyond anyone's means as an average citizen. And then it happened. About 10 minutes into the episode, the power goes out. And the power doesn't go out just for the house or for the street, but the entire village. Just gone. They didn't sit around and wait for it to come back on, because they knew the drill at this point, that rolling blackouts meant that no power for maybe 8 hours, 4 hours, 12 hours. Could be late that evening, as the sun sets and people prepare for the end of the day, that the power might come back on. But they'd come to that lifestyle to know that they couldn't expect water to always come out of the faucet, power to always make it to the house, or the government to be responsive to their needs. But they had the first DVD, Prison Break. That's good stuff. We left shortly after our driver picked us up, and I'm sure that later that day they got to finish the DVD. But that's just a little snapshot of life in Cuba. The ability to get anything done if only there was power and water every day. So there you go, Prison Break from the Caribbean's biggest prison. Hey, thanks for listening to another story by Brian. This week, go meet a stranger, tell a story, make a friend, and I'll try to be back here next week with another story. Thanks. Bye.